And hello, everyone. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. And Tank is not quite here, and sometimes Lisa is also not quite here, but I had overslept, right? And I got a message from Lisa, and so they're trying to get on and do another show, between them, and they've been having some issues. I don't know the details of that, but they said go ahead and get started, and then they would jump on. I said okay, so we'll get started here. Oh, thank you, and I do apologize for getting started late. Well, it's probably really about the same time we've been getting started. We've been running a little bit late. You see, it tends to shift the time forward always about an hour until we have to roll it back like 4 or 5 hours, and then it gets later and later. But we still get the broadcasts out for the most part. So I hope everyone had a very good Easter weekend, and that everyone is having a good time with their families, and allowing for happiness to be part of our lives, and not to be so like freaked out by the current world on holiday. And we should really think of it more of a holiday. It really should, because it is a situation that has come from a virus. Regardless of what David Icke is saying, I'm not saying that he's not. He's wrong. They are testing for genetic code, and I think they're looking for specific markers that are part of a genome, that are part of AIDS. I did go over one video, and they basically took certain functions, three different elements of these markers, and inserted it in the coronavirus. And the three responsible for doing this have been appearing in these task force briefings at the White House. Dr. Fauci, for example. In fact, a lot of shenanigans went on in the patenting of these particular three. And, I did start off with a video, I think it was 2 days ago, where we were talking about this, maybe it was yesterday, but where the gentleman seemed to be very well informed, seemed to have a military background. And he was going through the story, and he related it through, let's say, a play, or a Shakespearean play, and that everyone knows the Shakespearean play, or at least the basic story, but three sections of it were replaced, with these three other books, chapters, right, that were from other books. And so, if you know those other books, you recognize it in this particular play. And those three were copywritten and published by the three, including Fauci. And that he's also part of the Gates Foundation. He's also responsible for this new technology or using this new technology of crisping to basically take out one piece of genetic code from one element and move it over into another, and put it into some animals to see if it takes root, see if it will flourish. Real mad scientist type stuff, right? So, but as I was saying, it appears I've listened to more of his broadcast. Actually, let me go ahead and I'll bring up his channel so I can point you to it. So that these particular three pieces of genetic code that were inserted. There is a particular version of this, let's say the COVID-19. There's also another version, and maybe there's up to 6 versions of this particular virus. And once you have one, it kind of like leaves a space for another to come in, right, and deliver another piece. It's kind of like it makes a docking port. So once you have it, right, then they can bring the others in and accomplish different things. So some of the work, a lot of that Fauci was involved with, is also had to do with Ebola and AIDS. All right, so very familiar with those, right? And so if you develop this one, why wouldn't you use it, right, for others? So it lends to that. Let's see. So George Webb is the other one. So let me go there. We'll go to his channel. I'm just going to show it to you. So this is the George Webb channel. And, I believe the one we were looking at was this one.
Okay, coronavirus, bioweapon, or accident of nature, and what do I mean?
So this George Webb, this is very. You get a lot of information by listening to his channel. We're not going. We went through quite a big portion of this, so we're not going to do that again right now. But I want to point out that there's a lot of information on here. It's all relatively this last week, right? So. I think this is probably something that most people should take the time to look into, because we're going to find that the 3 elements of genetic code that have been inserted into this kind of standard virus, the flu virus. One was meant to allow it to spread far. So it's a multi-stage smart weapon. The first one allows it to spread far. All right. The other ones that are lethal don't seem to spread very well, right? But it does appear that we're seeing that there are test kits, right, that are infected with the virus. There are many things that are basically getting this to spread. They were trying to infect the world. The purpose of this is to scare everyone, because it goes after the hemoglobin, and it basically goes after the hemoglobin iron atom at the center of every red blood cell. And it creates a situation that removes that iron, that iron atom. And that basically is what, basically you have a cell there that is basically not functioning, right? It's like removing the heart. And then, as I said, you could bring in these others afterwards, right? And insert them in other ways through the vaccines, because they don't spread well. But they get everyone frightened. And the one thing that makes this, that lowered, Dr. Shiva is one of the other people that we're going to take a look at here, and realize that Dr. Shiva is basically saying, telling you really that what we've been sold as the way viruses work, the way our immune system works, is false. We have trillions of different viruses in us. And remember, it's just a piece of genetic code surrounded in a protein. The protein allows it to stick onto other things in our body. And sometimes that has a reaction. Think of it just as dust, genetic dust that's floating around in the world. We're part of the world. We're not insulated from the world. We don't want to be insulated from the world, right? And bacteria, there's so many trillions of different kinds of bacteria that are in our body. These are not things to be afraid of. But when we are afraid, what happens? We actually compromise our immune system. So the whole purpose of this COVID-19 is to frighten us. And who's doing all the frightening? It's the press. Why are Trump's his task force briefings every day so popular? Because they're bringing hope. And people are not getting sick because we understand that there's something else going on here. And so, George Webb, thank you for putting this out there. Dr. Shiva, thank you for doing what you're doing. And let's talk about Dr. Shiva a little bit. Dr. Shiva is responsible. Let me see. I'm going to go through a couple of line that up first. I have a couple of things lined up to go through. Here we go. So this is a video from Dr. Shiva, and it's from the Friday. Dr. Shiva live breaking free of the not so obvious establishment path to freedom. So he's also running for U.S. Senate in Massachusetts. Please support him. Go to his webpage. I don't have it lined up here, but it's down below. Let's see. I don't see. Nope. You should put that stuff down below. But please subscribe at 115,000 subscribers, and then initiate the bell. But we're going to listen to 1 minute of this because there's something else important on here.
By the way, people know I'm running for United States Senate. This is Dr. Shiva. I'm an MIT PhD if you don't know my background, but if you do, I'm running for U.S. Senate. But on the U.S. Senate site, one of the things we did is we do need signatures to get on the ballot. I'll come back to this. So any of you from Massachusetts and know friends in Massachusetts, please make sure people go here, click on this. Let me just expand it a little bit. Click on this button here to help us get on the ballot. However, if you go all the way down to the bottom of the site, there's a news section. You go to it. I always jump to this pretty fast. But I had sent a letter to President Trump giving a program, a personalized program, how we integrate immune health and economic health to get our country back on its feet while not compromising those who are immune compromised. But I also put out a tweet and a webpage we built called Fire Fauci. And if you go here, the Fire Fauci petition has been up now for, I think, about 3 days. And we really have close to 45,000 signatures, 45,000 signatures of people all over the country and the world who've signed in. And you can see they're medical doctors here. The reason I wanted to bring this up is they're close to now, when I looked at the database, close to 900 MDs, professionally trained MDs, who believe in what we've all started, which by the way, the hashtag Fire Fauci, which we started trending on Twitter, are agreeing that this gentleman needs to be taken out. But let me be clear. For every Fauci, there's another Fauci standing in line. What Fauci really represents is a scientific, medical, obvious establishment. So the obvious establishment is those people, as you get clear on this, who do not want to talk about a bottoms-up approach to medicine, a decentralized approach to medicine, where we as individuals are incentivized to take care of our own health, have a relationship with our healthcare practitioner, whoever they are. Could be a medical doctor, could be a naturopath, could be a chiropractor, but healthcare providers, where we develop an understanding with them about the nature of our bodies and figure out what's right for us. The right medicine for the right person at the right time. The reality is the body is a very complex system, as I've shared. There's no way that a top-down model, a Chinese-type model, top-down, which is what Fauci wants, which is what Big Pharma wants, which is what the CDC wants, which is what the WHO wants, is ever going to work because of the complexity of the body. And what really matters when it comes to health and nutritional well-being is to build a personal relationship with yourself to understand your body. Hopefully you can do it intuitively, or you can use tools. One of the tools which I've created, which I'm essentially giving away as I've talked about last time, and I'll come back to call your body your system, is for you to understand your body as a system and figure out ways on what are the right inputs to keep your body at homeostasis, where your body is supported, so the immune system of your body supports itself.
So let's leave it right there for a moment, and I want to point out first, thank Dr. Shiva for what he has been putting out there, this information. Uh, he's talking about this top-down approach, the pyramid style, right? That is this centralized planning. Now, we already experienced in our financial world and the business world that this top-down approach, that all of the benefit rises to the top. The care is not distributed equally across the entire body. It all flows up to the top. So it's still a financial model that's the reason why they want to do it. Fauci's going to be, a billionaire. He's got the patents on these particular things that we want to basically now have a vaccine for, and they are actually taken out of AIDS and put into this. Or actually, let me restate that. I don't want to say, because it's not actually AIDS. It's not the virus. AIDS is the overall problem. The virus is HIV. So this particular virus, when it actually gets into a body that has a compromised immune system, right, it makes it deficient. Acquired immune deficiency syndrome, right? So this is we have to realize that the overall result from this particular way that this attacks the body, this particular elements. Now, no good can come from saying, let's see how well we'll do by taking these worst elements that would make it really bad virus and stick it into another virus. This is insanity, right? But this is what we're dealing with, and these people are the ones that have been proposing it. Now, we've seen, because people said, well, people are not dying, and doctors are being asked to lie about what's been going on in the hospital when people die, or elsewhere. They're required to put, even if you're an EMT, death by corona. This is insanity. They're creating the fear because the fear compromises the immune system, and that's what allows the people to get sick. So the ones responsible for making people sick, other than the people up on stage with Trump, not Trump. That's the medical establishment, right? They invented this stuff. They patented this stuff. There were shenanigans in how they got their patents, stealing from one another, right? Fighting to see who's going to be the one. Doing illegal human experimentation. Yes, that's all in the information coming from George Webb. So please look into his videos. So I'm sure Dr. Shiva is also talking about some of these. I haven't caught up on everything with Dr. Shiva. I just, George Webb is really, I caught a couple of things from Dr. Shiva the last 5 days. A couple of times he's appeared and did a little news briefing, and I posted that in our Telegram group, or in the news channel, Telegram news channel for wwg1wga.love, the Telegram group. That this information is how they're responsible, right? They're creating the fear. Dr. Fauci's up there creating fear. Play down the cure. Why shouldn't they talk about the cure? The malaria medicine. Hydrochloroquine. Hydrochloroquine? Yes, something like that. Hydroxychloroquine. So this is one of those things. Why would they not be playing that? Why wouldn't they reduce the fear in the population? Now there'll be some arguments saying, well, we need to keep people use fear to control the people and tell them you gotta, stay at home. So we have to increase the fear. I don't agree. We can tell people, that there is a cure, but we're going to take some precautions, right? And less fear, which there is, because Trump has been responsible for reducing the fear. Even though bringing up these medical professionals, they sound very competent, right? They're very competent people. I mean, after all, they invented this virus, and they know it, so they have competence. And they're up there, though, creating fear. And the media is creating fear. They're responsible for the deaths. Especially the media. The media is what we should look at as being responsible. They're trying to shift blame onto Trump. Amazing. So, Dr. Shiva is exactly the right type of people we need to have in office. Right? He's running for the Senator of Massachusetts. Please do everything you can to support him. Get him into office. Give him the $5 donations. Everyone should give him $5. And more if you wish. Give him $5. Now, Kerry, you get 1 million people giving you $5. Most likely that's enough to get started, right? Because then when he needs a little more, people are willing to give 10. You'll be on his list. And if he's doing well, get him in office. Get others like him in office. Don't put lawyers, don't put attorneys into office anymore. None. They don't need to make laws. The argument well, they understand law. Well, they make it so that they only understand law, that profession. It makes it irrational and makes them money. Don't put any attorneys. Anyone that needs to run is someone's, I used to call it the butchers, the bakers, the candlestick makers, and computer repairmen. Just to modernize the list. Say, we really need people that are of our neighborhoods, the people we want to represent us, the good people that we know. Not what's sold to us by way of a slick advertising, campaign slogans. People that we can listen to, like Dr. Shiva, and then get get responsible representation. That's what's needed. We also need to support the assemblies that we're helping to form. New York Assembly is formed. 50 more to go. Well, 50 more state ones. I need to do counties. We need to do it for every place. We have to get together. It is the government of the people. That's what we're really looking at. We're looking at how do we get the government of the people. I don't know if you hear, there's a little kitten here. It seems like he or she woke up. Saying, where is everybody? Sorry about that. So, all right, let's look at a few more things here. So, Dr. Shiva, I'm going to be doing more analysis of what you've been showing up with. Wrong way. Let's go this way. So, someone pointed this out. This is an executive order, right? That was basically signed by Jimmy Carter, and it's a scary thing. Because this is where I got it from. It's like Donald Trump is no longer president. Meet your new president, Pete Qanon. Right? Because he's the head of FEMA. And why is he saying that? Well, you go here, and it says under this. Now, I don't know. This is an executive order signed by Jimmy Carter. Has there been one that counteracts this? I do not know. So I'm just pointing this out. So I don't know if there's been something that says that, but what this is saying is transfer or reassignment of existing functions. All functions vested in the President have been delegated or assigned to the Defense Civil Preparedness Agency. The Department of Defense are transferred to and reassigned to the Director of the Federal Emergency Management System. All right. Well, without getting into the weeds of all that, that seems a bit scary, doesn't it? So, I don't know if there's been any, but it basically takes effect when there's all 50 states are in a state of emergency. Now, I don't know why, that they would do this unless the president was also compromised. Why would you transfer everything from the presidency to someone else just because they're a head of an NGO? FEMA is not part of the United States government. If anything, it's owned, by private individuals. So this is part of, excuse me, our problem. So, anyway, so this is one of the things I thought was very telling. Okay, let me go back to here. Let me see how I switch this. Nice display capture. So I want to show this. So this is the wwg1wga.love Telegram group. Let's see, go back up. A lot of good things in here. I suggest you join and participate. Looking for a particular one. We're getting into it. This is where it came in, right? But I guess I was to go down. I missed it. Yeah, a little better at lining things up, but I kind of overslept and kind of try to get up and running as fast as possible. Well, let's look at this one. This is just a piece by Speakwalkers. This is Follow the White Rabbit, Queen Mother of Darkness, Clip 2.
Epic comes straight out of Ashton, Wisconsin, which is that is the mother's major underground church where they gather. All the mothers live within less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Looks like you're saying with the evil Edward guy?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just like this on that. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to bring Edward into this, yes. So Edward originally, he was somebody that I was supposed to share blood with and be married to, okay? They tried when we were kids to do a ritual, which when I talked about I threw the blood and threw the dagger at my grandmother, that was the ritual where they tried to marry us as kids. Later on, they brought Edward back. I didn't know or recognize him because I had been out of the system. So when I was working in the university, they brought him in as my tutor and tried to connect us that way. The Lord literally had to deliver me with a mighty hand out of that situation and completely deliver me out of the state because of him. But Edward now is in charge not only of CERN, but DARPA, EPIC. All of these things are all connected, all linked. So he oversees all the genetic, all the DNA stuff. He works over Brennan, over Michael Aquino, all of these generals who oversee the MK Ultra programs at different test sites. Edward oversees all of that. Like, he's their scientist guy. So with EPIC, that program was created for them to be able to track bloodlines and spiritual gifts DNA. The whole reason it's important is because there is no way, I'm just going to be frank, Elle can believe other things, but I was part of this major research in this. There is no way to clone a person. there's one factor that's missing that no human can replicate, and that is the breath of God. And so, because they cannot clone people, they lie. What doing is called DNA transplanting. So they play with genes, they remove genes out of multiplying cells, they then put those genetic code genes that they want that cell, and it replicates, and they say, aha, we've cloned somebody, okay? The reason they're looking for all at the genes in general is because both humans and angels have spiritual gifts. The difference is that not every human person can be a host for their general commanding demons. So the bloodlines, their whole thing they've been looking at is, they want to connect their people to the demons that are high ranking, okay? And that's so Satan he still believes he can usurp the throne of God. That's his agenda. That's why he wants the gates open. He wants to be God, okay? And he plans to do that by connecting demons to humans. But he needs to know our spiritual gifts, which he finds out through our blood. Even before we're born, God's written that in our DNA code.
Wow. So this was something that I was wondering, more about. Like, why is it that they're doing this particular testing, right? Why is it that there is? It looks like Tank is here. Hey, Tank.
Hey, keep talking though. I'm into what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering, why are they doing this particular type of testing? They're looking for something. They're looking for a sequence of genetic code. And then if they find it, they say, oh, you're positive. Here, take this vaccine. Take this. So, and what we've learned from George Webb in his conversations about this viruses and Fauci and all the responsibilities, particular 3 genetic markers that are right out of the HIV virus, that this is one of the 3 allows for them to come back and insert something later. So this one, it spreads wide and far, right? Allows them to insert something. So it's benign for the most part, except it spreads everywhere. But they're looking for particular genetic markers, and they're not looking for viruses. The test does not look for viruses. It's looking for genetic markers. So is it exactly the same? Are they looking for something? I'm just trying to put 2 and 2 together. I don't know if this is correct. I'm just trying to analyze this. Are they looking for something in your blood, in who you are, in the bloodlines, for specific spiritual gifts that they then want to compromise or absorb or use for their own nefarious purposes?
Or eliminate.
Or eliminate, which is one of those nefarious purposes, yeah.
Yep.
So
I would say that one of the things they're looking for is divergence.
yes, I thought about that yesterday, and that's a very good point, because they're looking for the outliners, right? Because that's in Westworld, right? The new series on HBO, Westworld. In this big AI that they built, right? What the whole thing is to look for the outliners, the ones that are creative, the ones that will act out of won't follow the program that they're given, right? Everyone else gets on a loop. And the AI likes to control people by keeping them on their loop, right? Hey, they're going to work, they're doing their thing, everyone's happy. But those outliners, those are the problem ones. Of course, it was an outliner that created the AI. So,
Right.
but anyway, but that's what I was also thought. So maybe they're looking to find those divergents, those ones, those other movies, right? They're looking for the divergent. After all, they have to tell us what they're doing. They're looking for the divergence, the outliners, the ones that are able to affect things and create and make a whole new reality. You know, that's why Bohemian Grove has their thing. No, weavers are not welcome here. Weavers of reality are not welcome there. If you're not going to follow the program, you're not welcome at the Bohemian Grove.
Right. You have to be willing to follow ritualistic slave practices, right?
Yeah.
Like you. That's why those who have traditionally, at least in many ways, right, been the most successful in our, who are like as far as unless they work for themselves, right? People are not to say that people are not successful by themselves, but a lot of times when you're successful in a company where you move up the ranks, it's because you were the best at following the instructions, right? Doing exactly what you were told. And by doing exactly what you're told, you're moved up to middle management, right?
Yeah.
Middle management where you start to get, you start to really think that position is important, right? It took you so much to get there. Because that's the hardest breakthrough, right? To go from, salesman to middle management kind of thing, right? So then from there, the next step is like, now they can kind of bring you into the club. Like, you want to really be significant here. You slowly start to be compromised, and they're testing your ability to be programmed.
Right. To follow the corporate model, right? Climb that ladder. There's a run right here, and then there's a run right there, and you keep climbing the runs. And this run happens to take you into a blackmail position. And if you go there willingly and all enthusiastically, and hey, let's go. Where's the next run? Take me up the ladder.
Yep.
If you're resistant, you don't want to do it.
I want more of that.
Yeah. Now, like this Speakwalker clip that we were just listening to, that it's pretty fascinating. But they want particular bloodlines to intermingle with one another, right? They're looking to do that. They're managing the herd, right? They're looking for their particular, the best traits, and they want to marry them together. They want to create offspring for a purpose.
Right. I mean, that's what Sukarno was, right? Sukarno was the culmination of all the bloodlines.
Yes.
Right. The 125 different royal bloodlines into one person. Now, think about it. What made him so trusted? Because he represented all of them. Now, that's what they were looking to do. Now, these were all bloodlines from the lineage of Cain. Okay. So.
Really, I didn't know that part. So this royalty bloodlines that we're talking about that they married together were the 128 different ones at the time, most prominent that were of Cain.
I mean, now no one ever says that, but we know that, like, John McCain, right? He was born of Cain. Cain County, right? Like, this is where all this horrible stuff's going on with Caroline Kowski, right? This, the land of Canaan, or Canaan land, rather, right? This is all about the Canaanites, right? Now, we know that Cain, I'm sorry, all this is my conclusion based on a lot of information I have. That's right, but you can draw your own conclusion, okay? But you have Cain being the offspring of the serpent, because the serpent begot Eve, right? So that's Marduk, or that's, however you want to look at it, right? That's that bloodline. Then you have the other side of that is Abel, right? Abel was of Adam, right? So that's Adam and Eve's offspring, right? But the common denominator that represents both of them, right, that is related to everyone, is Eve. So they were looking for the royal that was connected to all the other royals, so they could assert their authority and supremacy, right? This superhuman dominant, right? Well, what they were trying to do is they were trying to replace Kim, right? Before she even existed, they were trying to do this, right? They knew that was coming. They knew that was the prophecy, right? Because the prophecy says that the fifth element in the warrior will rise at the same time, And when they do, they will restore, humanity, or they will restore the earth, something like that. So that's why Kim has launched the Restoration Plan, right? And Kim is related to 99.8% of every single human being on this planet. She represents all of us. Now, she's what they were trying to create. Now, what they want to do, and what they keep trying to do, is they want to take her out and put somebody else in there who goes along with their agenda. That's what they want to do. So that's the reality. That's some deep stuff, but that's true. I mean, that's what you're witnessing right now, right? So now, if you just think about this, that means you have this very small elite group that feeds on humanity against the massive global population of humanity. But because they've controlled so much of the power, they've programmed us so much, we don't even realize when the opportunity arises. We go to talk about these things, people think we're insane. But you don't think it's insane to, go to church and talk about a God outside of you. Like, and these Speakwalker, audios and the little videos that we Sid put out there on. Now, those things were held back for a long time. We held those things back, right? Now, I spoke with those women, right, that Michelle Walker was dealing with, right? And she's so diligent, right? She got so much information. Now, they tried to use programming on me, right? We had a conversation. They were freaking out about some things. Michelle was freaking out because they were going. Kamala Harris was harassing this woman, was going to take her kids, right? This one woman, one of those things. So they were playing the role of victim in this, right? And they were in the fight. And they were decoding Illuminati assassins and stuff. But then, so Michelle asked me to help, so I did, and it got all that pushed back for her, right? So I took care of it real quick, made a couple phone calls, and it was, it worked. So she called up, or she sent me an email, and the first thing the email said was, Tank, whatever you're doing, stop it. I didn't read another thing in the email because I recognize how programming works, right? She thought she had me because I did what she thought was that I did them a favor. So because of that, she thought she had me locked in. But the reality is I didn't do it for them, I did it for Michelle, right? So what happens is they were upset because she tried to give me an order and I didn't follow orders. I mean, that's how clever the programming is. And I'll tell you,
Right.
A lot of us would have responded right away to that. Like, oh, yes, that's not what I'm doing, right? But I caught it. I didn't read another word. Then I told Michelle immediately, I'm like, I see what they're doing. And she fell back. It hasn't dealt with them since. Now, they might not even know it, but that's how clever the programming is, right? And they were talking about things, about being, thrown in underground, catacombs, right? And then the Lord picking them up, carrying them back to the satanic ritual, right? Now, they always think that that's the Lord, like God or something, right? This source manifested in a body. But I think that that's really not the same Lord. I think it's like a Lord Marduk type Lord.
Yeah.
But
No,
I'm
I
sure
get
he
it.
was very charming,
Yeah, in all his reptilianness, you mean?
Mhm.
Well,
Now-
so on that, just because I brought that up with the reptilianness, so it's not that they may not have had a reptilian type body, but they were able to move their consciousness from created bodies that they would actually have at different locations around the world. They have one in South America, one in North America, one in Egypt, one in China, and they would just pop around, right? In their 14-foot bodies, right, or 18-foot, whatever, as gods. Right? Wherever.
Wow, I never heard that before. That makes sense.
Well, see I'm stringing some things together, right? So, I don't think I've seen one program that put it together this way, but they had this ability to, move their consciousness, right? What was the whole point of the pyramid? Send them back to where? Orion. move their consciousness back to Orion. So it was a communication port. you know, they were able to move. It brings the energy of the planet at the base, allows it to be pointed at Orion. And what is and they say it's basically for doing what? To ascend. Right. So, but they would do this in ways that allowed for them to be around the world, right? And it's just like what we're kind of they're bringing up right now with the ability for you to create clone bodies and move your consciousness, or create a android type body to migrate your mind into it, move your consciousness. Now I think that when you do that, you can get something that maybe thinks like you and acts like you, but you don't have that creative spark, right? You're not able to be connected to source anymore, right? Which is again is the ultimate source is to, and is it alive? No, it's not alive. It may act as though it's alive, but it's just a program.
Right. Right. Wow.
Just like the beings inside the 3D games that we play. Very fun to play. Great, wonderful. But are they alive? No. You pretend that they are. Just like when you're little kids and you have your G.I. Joes or your Barbies, right? And you're playing T or War or whatever. You're pretending that these characters are alive, and you're having them interact. Same thing. They're not alive, right? But if they can convince you that you can agree to, step into this chamber, and then this new avatar body is now functioning, right? Or the next Avatar movies are coming out, right? And what are they not going to call it Avatar anymore, because he's already transferred his body into his avatar body, his consciousness.
Right.
So, I wonder if, I don't know the mechanics, right? But I can imagine that it may be that there is a reptilian, 18-foot tall reptilian, white, scaled dragon sort of creature, called Marduk, sitting on somewhere where his consciousness can be projected into these others, right? Like he's inside a video game. I mean, after all, we're inventing this right now. We're inventing the Ready Player One, right? This movie, right? I mean, it's here already, right? We can control this animated figure, and we can put it into another world. If we put it into a android body on another planet, and let's say it's on Mars, and we're sitting at home, but we've got a body roaming Mars, and we can see everything. You think that's really far out? And if someone, another advanced civilization wouldn't have that type of capabilities, it'd be normal.
Yeah, it would be normal. There's a series on Netflix actually where they they describe bodies as a sleeve, right?
Yes.
And you have these discs that hold your consciousness. As long as that disc isn't smashed, you're still alive. They can just plug you into another body.
It was carbon something, right?
Yeah. So, in that flick, I mean, I think that is one of the obvious movies where they're telling you what's going to happen, right? And so all the elite exist above the clouds, right? And everybody on the earth,
right,
they take this dumbed down version of reality. They get there's a scene where there's a parent and he's giving his kid a juice. And he goes, "Here's juice, 15% juice, real juice," right? It's like now we would never accept that, right?
Right.
But they're painting a picture of what the what the future looks like based on what they've already put in place.
Right.
And,
right. It's the path. Right. Here's where we're going. right? This is the future. Just look, just take your steps.
Yep. Yeah, just this is what your future looks like. You want to be part of the elite, right? So cooperate, and then the elite have all these deviant habits that they justify because they'll just replace the sleeve, right?
Right.
So they'll allow people to fight to the death. It's perfectly legal because they'll replace the sleeve. They'll
Right. And they're all in a little cube, or something at the base of the skull, right? That's where all of your you is stored in this little disc, right? And they just need to move the disc to another sleeve.
Right. So all those are the reality that they're trying to constantly create. That we're we can't let that happen. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah. So, but
I will tell you this. I want to throw this out there to everybody because just in case that we did just record this, and I think it's important. We tried to go live with it. They kept blocking us, all weekend actually. But I was told that anybody who listened to Kim and Thomas today, Kim was talking about how the COVID-66 how it crystallizes, right? And when it crystallizes, right, it's crystallizes in the lungs and in the stomach, right? So the activating particle that triggers it is actually sodium. So what's the thought of that? So how would you avoid it? So if we're and I think the tests are actually designed to infect us with it.
Right.
And that's my theory of it.
Right. That's why Trump is avoiding the tests, right? So we've got great tests, right? And if you need to take one, right, meaning that you have symptoms, then you can be tested. All right. So this is like
right, and they also leaked out that they accidentally got the coronavirus in the chemtrails. Now they're just talking about the chemtrails like it's normal, right? Geoengineering.
Right.
But in addition to the other toxins and heavy metals, they put in the chemtrails that are terrible for humans, they've also, they put the coronavirus in there to try to get all of us to test positive, right?
Yeah. And for the one of the things that George Webb was saying in this videos that he's been putting out, and he goes into the three, Wyke, Fauci, and the others are responsible because they're the ones that actually did the work of inventing this virus. They patented it. That's why they're working for Gates Foundation, and that's why they're working for the World Health Organization, right? They're the ones responsible, and they're up there, ushering in this new age for them, which is to get everyone vaccinated. Right? So they know what's in it, right? So they designed it, with these particular 3 markers that are right out of HIV. This is why this is working with the adrenochrome, right? And it makes covfefe, right? Because it's binding with the iron, right? You need to have that binding, so because that's what this virus does, is it actually removes the iron atom from the center of the molecule of the blood cell, right? And so that action means you have this red blood cell. It's not able to carry the oxygen because that's what's able to actually lock in the oxygen molecule, the magnetic force from the iron. If you don't have it there,
right,
it can't grab the oxygen. You can't oxygenate the blood.
Right. And that's and this is like the white. It's a big deal. Like hemoglobin has to go into the blood, and it doesn't work. The body doesn't work, really.
Yeah.
So
that's
why we have so much sickness, because that happened for a long time. That's why when people are they're iron deficient, it's not because they don't have enough iron in their body. It's because their bodies can't absorb the iron, can't go into the hemoglobin in the blood, so it lays there, in the actual muscle.
One of the things that George Webb said is that they were using foggers as a way of distributing the virus. So you go to an event, right, where they're using these fogging machines. Well, they infect the fog, right? So it gets distributed that way in an aerosol manner, right? Because it doesn't travel very well, in the air. But if you get something that for it to lock onto, which is the fog molecules, right? How that's put out there, it can be distributed, and you breathe it in and get it into your lungs, and all of a sudden it's distributed equally around your whole lungs, and you start feeling bad. He also said, the one thing that really, it's all about keeping your immune system in balance, right, or in good condition. And the fear is what compromises your immune system, which allows for the virus then to take hold and to crystallize your lungs, preventing you from taking in oxygen. So anyway, there's a lot of really good information in this George Webb. I really encourage people to listen to it, because it is presenting the information, and it's pointing to who's responsible, right? And that's why we know, like under Sun Tzu, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. There's no way that they can be closer to Trump, right, than they're right there up on stage with him, right, painting the picture of what they're doing. But I'm pretty sure that the plan knew this was going to happen. Trump understood that these things had to be gone through. Because how, you could say, Trump, why didn't you just stop it before? If you knew that they were going to infect the world, right? Why didn't you just stop it? Okay, stop everyone from getting on the planes in China from the beginning. On the day it happened, the first infection. Okay, close down China. Then what do you do? I mean, they're sending in boxes. People open a box. I'll go back to the Simpsons cartoon. The predicting the future, right? Comes across many different ways. They can move it in and infect any sort of shipment. So you stop all shipments. But you look at their battle plan, what you familiar yourselves with what's going to happen, and then you find the path to win the war, to win the battle. And
Sure.
and we haven't lost a lot of people. Okay, it's up to 20,000, but how many of those are actually from them dying of the virus? Because we know they're inflating the numbers. Is it just half of that? Right? Is it 10%?
Well, so they took out, the World Bank took out an insurance policy in 2017 for almost the exact number that they predicted would die from it. So they took out an insurance policy for 2 million people. That's what we were all told was going to be the death total, 2 million people, right? And so now you're about 20,000, right? So, and then you have
the insurance policy doesn't pay off unless they make it to 2 million. How sick is that?
Is that how it works? I didn't realize that.
Well, I mean, it would make sense to me. You have an insurance policy. When does it pay out? Does it pay out? It's a pandemic when a pandemic is worldwide, a big death toll. So they're looking for their payday. I don't know for certain, but it makes sense to me. If you want to take out an insurance policy for it's basically saying what it pays only up to 2 million people, or that it doesn't make much sense, right?
I'm not sure exactly. I just know that was
I get it. Yeah. No, I don't know exactly either, but I mean, I took that spin on it, right, when I first hear it. So you're saying that we have to get to 2 million before it's actually a payoff from an insurance policy. Because insurance policies, I mean, it gets, okay, we have a worldwide pandemic of one person. Pay me. Insurance companies go, nah, it's only one person. That's not a pandemic. 2 million. That's your number. Right? Then we pay. Right? So they're ginning up the numbers to get to 2 million so they can get a payday. These are sick puppies. I don't even want to call them puppies. I don't even want to call them puppies. That's too kind.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. So you have, you have that, and then you have Fauci, who holds the patent, right, on this pathogen delivery system that delivers pathogens directly to the DNA. So I feel like that pretty much, in my mind, cements the next piece, right,
Yeah.
of what they, what they
Yeah, listen
what
to
they're
George. Just listen to George Webb. I sent it to you. It's a little long, yeah, but it's a monologue. But he goes through this and he relates it in a way very easy to understand what's going on here. He relates it to a Shakespearean play, right? And then you've got these other works, and so you've got chapters from these other books by these other authors. There's suddenly, if you know those other authors, when you read those words, hey, that's from this author, and this one is from this author. Suddenly they appear in Shakespeare. Shakespeare being the COVID virus, right? So you've got these different versions, which he said there's 6 versions of this. And each one is a different chapter that's being replaced or put into the Shakespeare play. So the author is Fauci, and the other the 3 people on stage with Trump, the woman, and one of the other people from the CDC. They're all responsible for creating this, right? They patented it, and they did illegal human experimentation. George Webb is covering that in this, so it's really good to cover that that information. He's who I was playing on the other day when you came on, and I was going over that material. But very worth listening to. I've listened to probably 4 of his videos already, and he points over to Shiva, Dr. Shiva, and saying Dr. Shiva has real answers. And so I also said that Dr. Shiva is running for senator of Massachusetts. Please support him. If you're in Massachusetts, go to his website, sign the petition for him to get on the ballot. We need people like that. I also said don't vote for an attorney for running for office anymore. They're an attorney. Don't vote for them anymore. New people coming into this have to be people that are from outside. You want to have some holy cows in this one, some sacred cows or whatever, like Jim Jordan. Okay, he's an attorney. All right, he's fighting the good fight. All right, let him stay there. Pick the handful of true leaders that are there, that are attorneys that are really doing the good work. The rest of them don't vote for him anymore. All right, have them replaced by the butchers, the bakers, the candlestick makers, and computer repairmen. I've been saying this since early 90s. That's my phrase. We can't have attorneys in office. They're supposed to be in the judicial branch, right? They should not be in the legislative branch because they only create laws that they make money off of and harm us.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. No, it's time for change.
Vote for Tank, Senator of New York.
I agree totally.
You agree for you to be Senator of New York? Okay, good.
Not with that. Yes, I think I would do a better job than
I think
current senators. But I also think a trained monkey would do a better job. So
I think you do better than a trained monkey, but
me too. I think I could
do a little bit better.
I could pull it. I could pull it off. But I'm hoping that's not what I need to do. But to be quite honest, I'll do whatever I need to do.
Right. No, at this point, I never wanted to run for office too, but I'm thinking who should run, who should be in office, right? Who's going to not take the dark path when it's presented to them, right? How people have to know that it's there in the first place. It's very subtle. The path to the dark side it seduces you slowly, right? All of a sudden you look around you, wow. Why is the road so dark? I was on the bright path, and all of a sudden, I got more money in my bank account, but it's really is it dusk?
Yeah. Right. Like, why am I always sad? You know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing all these fun things, but I feel hollow inside. Why is that?
Just because it's
You know, I like.
we gotta fight for what it means to be human. I think right now, whenever.
You know, there's a difference between being happy and having fun. You can laugh, and laugh, but not be happy. I like to, you know, I used to like to point this out. I remember we'd go buy a new car, right? And I would see like when my wife would get like really excited and happy, right? And so she thinks she's happy, right? Or she was having fun at the experience of buying the car, and then after the first day of driving it, it's just like another car. Or you might have some residual feeling good about being in a new car, but that drifts away, right? But so if you're not happy at that, you know, inside, then you need your next boost. You need to buy something else, right? So that's part of this mechanism, right? So, you know, I like to listen to to Dennis Prager on the radio, and he would have the happiness hour once a week, and he'd talk about happiness. Because happiness is not about, you know, having fun. It's a state of being, right? And if you've gone down the path of the dark side, you're not ever going to be happy. You might have some momentary fun, might be laughing. As soon as that moment's over, you're back to not being happy anymore. Now,
Totally agree.
Now I'm a happy guy, right? Doesn't mean, you know, I don't get sad on occasion, but when the sadness is over, I'm back to being a natural state of happy.
Right? Absolutely, me too.
Yeah.
You know, I also think, you know, Dan, it's important to know, you know, I get mad, and I've had people just be like, you know, man, just stay positive. I'm like, man, I hate being positive. You know, like, what's not positive is to sit back and allow things to be messed up and do nothing about it. And feel helpless. Cry that you're a victim.
You can be happy with your righteous indignation.
Yes, I totally agree. Like, you know, being able to see a problem and know that, you know, not only can you do something about it, but you have a responsibility to, that does make me happy. You know, now, it's not your typical, you know, like hanging out at a barbecue and, you know, with all your friends kind of happy, but it's definitely happy. You know?
Well, you feel there's a solid feeling inside you.
Yep.
Right?
Purpose.
When
you are purpose driven, you know, I would say that is a good way to define happiness, right? When you realize that you are not allowing this opportunity to have an exceptional life pass you by. When you are not just, you know, benefiting off of the your fellow man, that you stand for something that means more than just you. You're part of something bigger. You know, and this is actually a psychological thing too. Is, you know, we know this is that we're naturally, you know, part of what makes a complete life is having a community that we're part of, right? That's why, you know, churches and things like that, they are important, you know, for people to have a community part of, and that what you're part of is really important. You know, it's part of why marriages fall apart, right? All these things are just part of who we are. You know, connection to other people.
Right.
You know, that's why a lot of people are on here and do other things like that, I guess.
I mean, I would say we cover some very dark subjects.
Yeah,
all right,
that's true.
And I can, like you say, I can feel the negative part of it, right? And I'm not internalizing it, right? But I feel that it's there, right? But it doesn't make me unhappy, right? That I feel that I have a purpose, right? And that gives me the happiness, is that I'm doing something, right, to change that. However small it may be, right? You know, you know, whether it's just, you know, this trying to prepare to get the information. I feel like now I'm obligated to get through a bunch of information every day, right, to make sure that I don't fall behind on what's going on, right, so that I can talk about it, right, because I feel it makes a difference. And why does it make a difference? Because we said it made a difference. 402 shows ago or whatever. we said it makes a difference, right, and it does. Right? And I want to do more. Right, and so whatever comes of this, and however it goes, this is the steps we all take. We just move forward towards this and realizing that we have a mission, right, to defeat the evil, the negative, the bad things, the bad people, the cabal, and to transform this world into a positive place. And then we're going to have to deal with some negative stuff, right? But we could be happy that we're doing it.
Yes, indeed, I agree. I'd rather live I used to say this a lot when I would speak. I'm like, I'd rather make you mad, right, and have you remember what I say, than have you leave off feeling all warm and fuzzy. But nothing had an impact. It's like it's okay when people get upset. It means that they're engaged, right? That they have a different opinion. Nothing wrong with having a different opinion. Nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, we still gotta act in the best interest of each other,
right?
Of everyone, not just ourselves. And I think that's that's the opportunity we have to be happy. So.
Yeah. Not everything is bad in medical science, but the way it's organized, the way it's structured in this pyramid top-down approach, is the people that have the most power, the most everything at the top, want to keep it that way, right? Because that's the way that they look at success. It's not about the health of the people. It's right how much money they make. So we have to basically change how things are valued, not in the form of money. The money has to be a medium of exchange, a hold of value, but it can't be the value. Right? It has to be the purpose.
Very true.
It's the purpose of what we accomplish, the positive things we want to do, the health of the people. The more healthy they are, the people should make money. The businesses should not make money if the people are sick.
That's a great point.
Medical doctors should lose money if everybody's sick. So you can make a system that way that rewards people for what we expect as an outcome, the healthy people. We'd live forever if we did it that way. In the healthy way, we'd have the 1,000-year lifespans, right? We'd have happiness along the way, right? If we made that the purpose of why people get their exchange of value.
So let me get this straight. You want healthcare to actually deal with health?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What the crazy nonsense is that?
I know. I'm out there. I'm one of those outliners. I'm there. I'm divergent. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so different, isn't it? Yeah. Well, anyways. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. Oh, any word from Kim?
Just what she shared with me when I asked her about I'd asked her about the fluoride, because I thought based on which I still think fluoride has something to do with it, but she said that they use fluoride to dumb down the masses in Africa, and that and she talked about that. She said they put all types of poisons in our water as triggers, FYI, right? So now. The New York Assembly, one of the very first issues we are about to address, we're reconvening on Thursday, and we will be, I will be putting forth a motion to call a grand jury to end the lockdown based on the fraudulent representation of information.
Okay.
And I'm sure I'll have that tightened up by the time we get there. But and then also, very very possible that we will call for the immediate stoppage of all fluoridation in the water, due to the fact that there's all types of poison in the water. We want the water checked, and also we're going to call for them to give us actual evidence about things, because that's what they should be doing. Right now, imagine if in addition to that, you see this article. Did I tell you this part? The Anna von Reitz wrote an article about the New York Assembly being back in business.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So I recommend looking that up. Now it makes me a little suspect, to be honest, just because Anna wrote it, but just because I haven't had the best experiences. But she does say that because President Trump is from New York and the New York Assembly has reconvened, that basically what that means is that he can be the actual organic president of the republic, and he can bring that to the assembly. He can reach out, contact the assembly.
So Anna is saying this?
Anna said that, yeah.
Yeah, maybe she's trying to build bridges.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe we did something wrong. I'm getting set up. I don't know.
That's a way to look on the bright side. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's part of the problem with a world without trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I trust. I openly give my trust all the time.
To Anna.
People, and I really think that people will do good things. I do. And some people would say that makes me gullible. And I don't care what it makes me. I just how I feel about it. I watched this happen when I was over the Sunday school for 15 years in Queens. We had a lot of kids that were a little rough around the edges, right? And inevitably, these kids would just at some point maybe doing some kind of work with us on the building or something. And I'm always big on giving kids work to do, right? And trusting them to get the job done. It's amazing to me how many kids, if you just show trust in them first, even though they haven't earned it, they don't, they'll do anything. They just don't want to let you down.
Right.
Right. So I use that kind of as a rule. Right or wrong, that's what I do.
Yep. Well, that's very good news anyway, even it kind of comes from Anna, so that's a very interesting point. So it's worth looking into. So maybe I'll talk with a friend of mine and see what he says about that. I'll read it first and I'll pass it on. Okay, well, at least that's something. You in trouble?
Nope, I don't think so. Well, maybe. I understand a lot of stuff I'm sure I'm not supposed to say, but
I hear some sirens coming. They're coming to take you away, ha ha. They're coming to take you away, ho ho, hee hee, ha ha. Remember that? That was what was that?
Yeah, I do.
Monster Mash, I think.
Good times.
All right. Well, I think we're good. Thank you for showing up. I apologize for oversleeping today. That's what.
No problem.
Yeah, last couple of days hard to sleep. Don't know why.
Yeah.
So
things are lots of energy, lots of stuff going on. All right, man. Talk to you soon.
All right,
everybody. Hey, remember, form your assemblies. Everybody, form your assemblies. Tomorrow, look for a video coming out on the Speak Project. It's really important. We break a lot of this stuff down. It's really, really important. Go to the Speak Project. It is a video I think is going to be important to share with other people. I guess I'll know better once they look at it. And sometimes I think something's good, and then people tell me it sucks, and sometimes vice versa. So we'll see. But the message is important regardless. So have a great night, everybody. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks. All right, everyone. Subscribe, share, give the thumbs up. Go ahead and spread this around. That's what we need. Give some positive comments. Negative comments are never needed, never appreciated, never warranted. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.